First of all, I am so excited to be at Bioneers. Make some noise. Because quite frankly, I had to get up out of Sacramento. Now, I'd like to start off with this. The era of youth is to believe that intelligence is a substitute for experience, while the era of age is to believe that experience is a substitute for intelligence. That's from Ernest Hemingway. I'm here today to talk about youth leadership in the environmental justice movement. I'm gonna drop some dimes in your thoughts around how to engage youth in this movement, because it's very hard and intricate. When they approached me, I thought, I gotta be honest with you, growing up in the low-income neighborhood, I thought, I'm from San Francisco, and I thought environmental justice and service, that was something for hippies in Haight-Ashbury. But then they started to relate it to me. Some of my mentors are here today. One of them, Dave Room from Bay Localize. Yeah, that's my boy, right? But he had came and did a presentation. And at first I was like, But then he showed San Francisco and part of it underwater. And one of the spots that he showed underwater was AT&T Park. And I love my Giants. I said, no more games. We got to do something about this. But then I got back to high school and, I was inspired. But the reason why I was more drawn to this movement is that the various mentors in my life brought it back to me and my community. They brought it back to environmental racism, environmental injustice. They expanded environmental injustice to not only include the physical environment, but the social one too. They made the message relevant for me. And that's the trick to getting youth involved. Youth respond well to culture. And at Mission High School, we built a culture around sustainability. In San Francisco, the Environmental Service Learning Initiative brought it back to the house. It brought it back to each and every student's community, their experiences, and their stories. The greatest tool in getting youth involved in the environmental justice movement is using their testimony, using their struggles, using their community's battles. And Esley did that to the T. And that's why I am where I am today. They brought it back to my house, to what's going on around me. And it's important to note around youth leadership that youth leadership is the environmental justice movement. Youth leadership is the movement's endurance and longevity. The trailblazers, our elders, they make the path. We retrofit it. The trailblazers, they set the foundation for the message, and we build a skyscraper out of that shit. They bring it back to our block, and then the block gets hot. But the heat turns into energy via solar panels. And that's what this movement is all about, and that's how you get youth involved. You remind them of how they can get into this movement. And you gotta remember as educators too, that polar bears and photosynthesis, they're not gonna make youth's toes curl. Show them photosynthesis in their own communities. Show them the best way to learn is by hands-on learning. And one of the other things that Esley did, Esley connected the subjects. They connected the subjects to the movement. In Mission High School, for example, and high schools around the city of San Francisco, they integrated water injustices in South America to students' government class. Biology, they brought in solar panels and they made them. And then we made a garden, and we educated with that. So my message is, Your youth are your only constituents when educating them, and you need to make it relevant for them and keep this movement alive. Thank you, and I hope to see you guys at the World Series celebration.